Hello, boys and girls. I'm going to talk about some plant adaptations today. I'm very excited about this. Does anyone know the name of this plant we're looking at right now? Cool. So some of us do, some of us don't. We're going to learn about it today. All right. Plants live almost everywhere. A plant's environment is all the living and non-living things around it. Living things have adapted or changed to live in their environment. All right, what is an environment? Now, when answering questions, boys and girls, we want to get away from just guessing. Guessing is like a last resort. It's not the first thing we do. So we want to be like Private Iguana. We want to be detective. And I'm going to look back in the text. So when it says, what is an environment? I'm going to look here. Give me a thumbs up if you see it. A plant's environment is all the living and non-living things around it. Boom, right there in the text. What does adapted mean? Thumbs up if you see it. Living things have adapted or changed to live in their environment. All right, so adapted means to change to your environment. A marsh is an environment that is very wet. The soil in a marsh may not have the nutrients plants need. The plants in a marsh are adapted to get nutrients in other ways. Cattails are plants. Cattails are adapted to grow in very wet soil. Cattails get the nutrients they need from the water. All right, a lot of information here. And here is a cattail. Nature's corn dog. All right. Describe a marsh environment. Well, let's go back. It says a marsh is an environment that is very wet. So it says very wet. Okay, lots of water. What must plants do in a marsh environment? Now, what did it say the plants must do? So it's talking about the soil in a marsh may not have the nutrients that plants need. So the plants in a marsh are adapted to get the nutrients in other ways. So we talk about adapted changing. So plants need to change to get those nutrients. And describe a cattail. As we said, nature's corn dog. Looks kind of like a corn dog. If you break it open, it looks like there's cotton inside. Very cool plant. Here we go. A sundew plant gets some nutrients from insects. The plant has sticky hairs on each leaf. Insects land on a leaf and stick to the hairs. Here's the picture we saw earlier. And now we have the name. A Venus flytrap. Very cool. A Venus flytrap also gets some nutrients from insects. An insect lands in the plant's leaves. Then the leaves snap shut. How does a sundew plant get nutrients from an insect? Let's go back and find out. Okay, so the plant has sticky hairs on each leaf. Insects land on a leaf and stick to the hairs. So the insects land to try to get the nectar, and it's so sticky they get stuck there. And the sundew gets the nutrients from the insect. Describe what happens with the Venus flytrap. An insect lands in the plant's leaves. Then the leaves snap shut. How are a Venus flytrap and a sundew plant alike? What do you think, boys and girls? How are these both alike? Yes, they get nutrients from insects. Very interesting. Here we go. The stinging nettle. The stinging nettle has tiny sharp hairs on its stem. The hairs protect the plant from animals that want to eat it. The fanworth is adapted to live in water. Water can move through the thin leaves of a plant. Why does a stinging nettle have tiny sharp hairs? Do you remember? Why does a stinging nettle have tiny sharp hairs? The hairs protect the plant from animals that want to eat it, so it's a defense. How has a fanworth adapted to live in water? Water can move through the thin leaves of the plant. How are the fanworth and the stinging nettle alike? How are these two plants alike? Yes, they can both be found in a marsh environment. Hope you enjoyed this, boys and girls. I love learning about plants, and I'll see you soon.